Welcome to Normal World. Tonight's news. In a stunning move, Kamala Harris is running for president. Her campaign slogan, "It's time we put an Asian woman in the driver's seat."
Is that a George Takei thing too?
It could be.
Follow on.
It could be.
Could be.
You know
what?
Definitely won't be an accident.
Well,
is she Asian?
it's hard to say.
No, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
It's like the Rock.
Yeah.
I've heard Jamaican and Indian, and I don't know what
India
that
is in Asia.
Is it really?
Yeah.
I always forget about it because I don't care.
Yeah, I mean, I remember the food, but the British did it better, so who cares?
I remember this, like the smell of it. Whenever I smell an Indian man, like that's what I remember, and I don't want her to smell like that.
There's a really good video going around social media right now. It's just like some silly video, but it's called "Washing My Hands in Your Food," and it's Indian dudes preparing food on the street.
Oh God!
And they are basically just washing their hands in the food.
I'm about to sprint out of here and just absolutely fucking prolapse.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I won't blame you.
I can feel it coming out right now.
Yeah,
A little bit?
it's primed. Yeah.
Half-inch out. It's a half-inch out of my butthole right now.
More than a turtle head.
No, it's the prolapse. It's the whole lining in there.
Oh, if you're going to prolapse your rectum, that is a...
It's bright red. It's a half-inch out. Right now, it's kind of sticking against the boxers, but it's not full out. Don't press me on this tonight.
Can you feel the nerve endings?
I sure can. Don't press me on it tonight. It's enough to come.
So, it's a Gary Glitter
Don't press
rectum.
on it tonight.
Yeah,
Don't press on it tonight.
Yeah.
Just let it live there in the boxers, and hopefully it'll creep back inside. But
You don't want to back up anything either
I sure don't.
at this point.
Oh.
I sure
I
don't.
also heard that, well, not heard, but Kamala's going to be the first black person to run for president who's also had sex with a man since Barack Obama.
That's correct.
Right?
That's hot news.
Yeah, it is. That's hot news. I mean, really, I think the only thing stopping Big Mike from running is that he doesn't want the dong to get actually discovered. It's one thing to know and not know, but to know and know for sure,
would
bring an end to that reign, I think.
I agree. We've all been there. We've had those nights in Miami, 4 a.m.
Sure.
The Adam's apples there, and you're like, you reach around and choke them. Just a light choke.
Well, yeah,
that would
gentle
kill
choke.
them. And then you're
once
like,
you find the other part, the choke becomes heavier.
Well,
now you've got to dig a hole.
The problem is when the MDMA starts to wear off and your pupils get back to a normal size, you can see again. You're like, oh no, that's an Adam's apple. Shit.
Yeah, but you definitely want to complete.
Right.
Look.
So
we're not quitters.
Well, you're not hanged to not finish.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And the ecstasy's not going to just, make you not finish.
Yeah. It's not, but
it's still $40 a pill.
It's a tough orgasm though.
And the girl's 30.
I know.
The man.
Minimum.
I mean, Miami streetwalker depends.
Has anybody stopped you? Has a bro stopped you and then you knew they were bros for life? A bro stopped me one time. He was like, whoa, 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 whoa. That's an hombre.
Fortunately, I've never been in the situation where I was about to walk up to one because I've been in a monogamous relationship long enough.
How long?
Oh, God. 20 years?
Not enough. A guy like you,
Mm-hmm.
you're not saying 21, 22 years old, you haven't just creeped up on somebody late at night and you're like,
no one stopped me.
Yeah.
Well,
No, I was a drunk in my teens. I probably just fucked a man.
Yeah, here's what we need. You know how a lot of cities will have these like ambassadors walking around downtown. They pick up trash, give people directions and shit. We need a fucking panty spotter out there.
You do. I had one. Fuck it. I'll shout him out. It's Chris
Like,
Kalaskis.
listen, this is happening a lot. I need a guy.
I love you, Chris Kalaskis.
put
He's
one
one of my
guy
best friends from
downtown.
college, too. Chris Kalaskis, he stopped me and he goes, whoa, whoa, whoa. I mean, I was this close.
Just put one guy downtown in like a Baywatch lifeguard tower.
But in
He's got binoculars. He's like blowing his whistle. Nope. It's a dude.
It's probably funny if he's off. Yeah. And the girl's like, no, I'm completely born a woman. Thank you. You're like, wow, you really...
Yeah.
Ugh.
It's good surgery.
Yeah.
He put a pacifier in my mouth to stop me, too, at that rave. And it was just like, don't do this. We got to get out of here.
Now you've made it gay again. It went from like creeping up to gay to straight again, and now it's gay.
If you're at a rave, though, can you be straight?
Yeah, you can be straight,
yeah.
but not
Really?
if another man puts a pacifier in your fucking mouth.
I went
If
to
it's-
a
if
lot
it's-
of raves, though. I got to say, I did use a pacifier, but it was so I didn't chew my lips apart.
That's exactly what it was
my
for.
Yeah, but you didn't have another man didn't gently place it in your mouth.
I didn't say gentle. He jammed it in there. Like he knew where I was going, and he goes, "Hey man, we're popping that in."
I feel like there's a lot of way to communicate that without jamming a pacifier into it.
I brought my own pacifier like a heterosexual.
Sure, yeah, exactly. That's the problem.
Thank you.
Proud of you.
Thank you.
If you don't get your own passy at Target,
you got to bring them.
Who are you?
They really were a lot more bedazzled back in the late 90s. Like, clearly they weren't for babies anymore.
Well, the babies were sexier back then.
Well, that's true.
now
either way.
Now everything's branded, though. I mean, are they going to come out with Trump pacifiers, too?
I hope so.
Because I would go back to Raven, I guess.
You got the Trump sneakers.
Oh, yeah. I got the Trump Force Ones on, bro.
You're wearing an $8,000 pair of shoes.
I sure am. Isn't that nice?
It is nice.
Do you feel like you're with royalty right now?
I am with royalty right now.
Yeah, you're goddamn right. It's an honor of the Olympics, bro.
You think you feel like royalty now? Wait until we get to Benny Hanna later.
Oh,
they know us.
Good.
That fucking Rocky special is going to go down so smooth tonight.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That steak, shrimp, and chicken, friend.
I feel like you could get killed for those shoes, but then they wouldn't on principle. They'd be like, I don't know.
Not black.
I don't know.
People. Black people aren't killing you.
Yeah, but things are.
Hey, Trump.
Yeah, that's what I mean. They're like if it was Jordans.
Who's going to kill me? Another white? No.
Things are changing now. Have you seen the latest polling of black women? 31% drop from 2020 to 2024 for support for Democrats.
Really?
Well, it's just for Biden, so maybe it's because he's old or whatever. But
yeah, and very much alive right now.
Yeah. Because a lot of people ask me,
he's totally alive.
Oh, he's totally alive.
He should get a name,
alive.
like, hi, my name is Totally Alive. He should just put one on because nobody fucking believes this dude's alive.
But everyone's asking me, like, hey, dude, are you going to get Trump to sign him? And I was like, yeah, but I also want that ear blood on him. If you got the ear blood on
little bit of
on
it,
those
yeah.
shoes,
on these shoes, and I fucking sold these. Holy shit!
Well, I think you've got the time. The clock's running out on that.
It is.
It's gonna heal. Like he's
gonna heal eventually.
He's downgraded from the MyPillow to just a Band-Aid at this point. So you've got like
I got a week,
couple of days,
week and a half tops.
Yeah.
was that Mike Lindell Cotton?
Oh yeah,
It sure was.
That was so Trump could just fucking lie down.
Yeah.
We're gonna take a quick nap.
He did create Bleed Stop. I wonder if that was something that he used on it. Do you remember the Mike Lindell Bleed Stop?
Did he create that?
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
That was
Who's
him.
Bleed Stop?
Who do you got, Mike Lindell or George Washington Carver? As most important, man.
Oh boy, that's tough because I do love peanut butter.
So do
Yeah,
I.
well, that's the problem.
Listen, Bleed Stop.
Well, we're gonna-
Abe Lincoln would tell you different.
Let's do some conspiracy theory today. George Washington Carver didn't invent peanut butter.
He didn't?
No, he invented everything else that you can do with a peanut, except for that. It was some white dude.
No, I think the white dude stole it.
That's probably true.
Yeah.
Right? But nobody's calling everything Edison anymore, right? I guess or Tesla anymore.
Tesla.
For
I think it
Elon
was-
bringing it back. So maybe that's what we need.
I think it was Frank Jiffy Hamilton took off. But that's what I heard. Like he was trying to play records with a peanut. I'm basing this all on an Eddie Murphy SNL sketch, by the way. I have no idea
me.
in history.
Not me.
You're right.
Our
though.
guys have a history show called Softcore History. It's really
Yeah.
funny, but
Yeah.
they went over the whole thing. Yeah, that's the only thing he didn't invent. But like all sorts of other like medical uses, which is interesting because everybody's allergic to it now.
Yeah.
I guess odd.
And my father is a child used to sneak into my room in blackface and then sprinkle peanut dust on me.
Sure.
He would dress up as George Washington Carver.
Yeah, the nut
night
fairy.
before the World Series because of peanuts at the ballpark.
I understand.
They're like, oh, you gonna sleep good tonight? He would sprinkle a little peanut dust
They
on me,
leave
dude.
tickets under your pillow so you know where you're going.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and I would go to Game 1 of the World Series for the Atlanta Braves, and I was like, "Oh my god!" And he goes, "Oh, you better thank Carver. You better thank Carver."
I'm not religious, but I would completely like my entire identity would become that religion if it was real.
Well, I'm a Tigers fan, so we never saw the ferry.
You sure didn't.
Never got a chance to go to the series.
No.
Well, game one we
You guys
made
are getting
once.
okay.
Yeah, we're getting all right this time.
Are
we,
you?
We need the days of Kirk
Are ya?
Gibson back. Hey, we're trying.
Yeah.
Look, we had the wings. That's all we ever had.
Yeah.
If you could
It
have,
was a good run.
It was a good.
Well, let me ask you this because we're baseball fans. We're huge baseball fans as well.
I am too.
If you could have the bullet that went through Trump's ear, or Kirk Gibson's hamstring from the 1988 World Series.
Yeah, but that was when he was with the Dodgers. So
But you still, that's the only thing that he really did, right? That we remember him for was this and then
They
the
won a
hamstring.
Dodgers hamstring though.
No, but it's going to be his. It's actually Kurt's. There's no colors on it.
I need an '84 World Series token.
what if you had the hamstrings of Lou Whitaker and Alan Trammell?
Oh my God, I have a picture with them. I want those hamstrings.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take the hamstrings.
You got a picture with Sweet Lou?
I got one with Lou. I have one with Chet Lemon and but I have one with Lou and Alan Trammell at the same time.
No way.
It's the best double play combo of all time, I think.
I agree. I agree.
I'm in the middle, and they're pulling out.
The best. You wish they stayed in.
Lucky
Yeah,
Pierre. I think that's Lucky
it's
Pierre.
Lucky
It was
Pierre.
cool back in the day because like all the players would meet you. Like even when we went to like see the Bad Boys in the Bad Boy era, like I got to meet like Rodman. I got to meet Isaiah Thomas because he'd tell you to say no to drugs and all that stuff. Like they'd always let the kids meet the players.
I said yes.
Yeah, I said lots of yes.
Yeah. By the way, drugs won that war.
They did win that war.
Did win that war. And well, let's introduce you guys real quick because I know we're 10 minutes in and we haven't even.
It's fine. They know. They know.
This is Ross Patterson.
Sure.
And Dan Hollaway. You may know them from one of my favorite podcasts and soon to be one of yours, Drinking Bros.
Drinking Bros podcast.
Also, check out their beverage.
Hard AF Seltzer.
Check it out.
Boom. Boom. You're in Texas. Every HEB in all the state of Texas and every single Total Wines right now. Look at my own ad read.
I like it.
Yeah, isn't that nice?
You're really good.
One of the best in the biz.
Look at you guys.
That's why I always wear headphones. I like to hear my own voice.
I don't blame you.
Yeah, even during sex.
Yeah. Really?
I don't want to hear my wife come. I want to hear myself.
Yeah, it's weird. He plays the podcast actually when they're banging.
I sure do.
Nice.
Yeah, I sure do. I can only come when I hear his voice too.
Well,
Oh, I do too. I listen to Citizen.
that's more of a nurture versus nature thing, though.
It is.
He's heard it so many times. How you go back at this point? You
Can't.
You can't unring that bell.
No, you can't. No. And I'll be at Tampa, Side Splitters, this weekend. Come out Friday and Saturday. It's in Tampa. I said that. All right.
Wait, are you a Michigan fan too?
Well, I was a State fan.
Michigan
Pretty
State fan,
much
okay.
up until they arrested the masseuse, but I was a State fan.
Larry Nasser, big fan.
Yeah, he's got a Larry Nasser poster.
goat.
And
I do, yeah.
He's the goat of molestation, isn't he?
droopy dog of molestation.
The numbers that guy put up.
Really something. Well, now he's pleasing Mexican gangs to stay alive. I don't know if you've heard about that.
I did hear about. They're trying to keep him alive.
I feel like that's probably like he's still having the time of his life in there.
Oh, yeah.
No, it's dangerous for him because he was girls, so his was different. It wasn't Sandusky. We had a guy. We had who was the journalist who was telling us Sandusky was innocent last week?
Frank is his name.
Yeah, on the show.
way.
Dude.
I'm telling you.
We listened for a full hour and a half.
You've got to look.
so?
You've got to look at all the evidence. It seems like
Is Paterno?
he had nothing to do with anything.
Okay, I didn't think so.
But Sandusky seems like an old like goofball
Mhm.
that thinks he's a kid still, and not like he had ED, like he had undescended testicles as a child. He never like none of the stuff they said he did. He was even like medically capable of doing. Some of the situations he found himself in were fucking weird, and I would not have done it.
Well, I think picture a white radio. Do you remember Cuba Gooding Jr. in radio?
Of course.
Yeah, that dude went
So I
to.
think he was retarded, and he was
I mean,
probably
when he was robbed of his Oscar?
he was probably exactly.
Yeah.
He was probably washing the kids' penises and then maybe sucking them, but he didn't know what he was doing. Like it was like a white radio sitch. Either way, I think he's guilty. You think he's innocent?
Yeah, I do actually. I don't think he's guilty.
I think he's guilty. What, Dave?
Just picturing radio, Cuba Gooding Jr. is white,
A white radio just washing penises.
innocently blowing the.
Yeah. Yep.
That's better than Omar Vizquel.
It sure is, dude.
Sure. Remember that story?
I mean, there's lines, but
You know, Omar Vizquel was like sexually harassing a fucking 15-year-old retarded kid.
Yes.
Was he really?
Oh yeah.
When was this?
Making him soap him up and shit in the early 2000s.
Here's how dark we get on our show too, because
please,
we
feel free.
have a baseball show. We had the Dan Hosa Fantasy Baseball League on there. We gave away the winner got a signed Omar Vizquel jersey this year.
That's fantastic.
It was awesome.
I guess next year will have to be that dude from the Rays.
Yes.
I gave my
Hunter
brother
Franco.
and my friend O.J. Simpson jerseys.
You've seen our
Done that?
brother
With
OJ
a
all over
glove.
the place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have in fantasy football, we have a cutthroat killers league, and then we give out a signed murderers jersey every year. So it was OJ, it was Ray Lewis. This last year it was the running back for LSU. What was his name?
For the Chiefs.
Yes.
What's the guy?
It's 3 names.
Edwards Hilaire.
Yes, Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
But he didn't murder somebody. Some guy broke into his house and tried to steal his Xbox, and he lit him up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
justified.
just good fortune. I mean, why God? When's it going to be my time? You know what I mean?
I know.
You really have been waiting.
Oh my God, dude! It's been years.
And you've been waiting patiently.
I haven't done anything weird. I'm not setting up ambushes or baiting anybody.
Yeah.
No.
We do publish the address to our studio, and I do have a rifle.
We've said it live on air. Where it's
No,
just
you
like, hey,
can-
come on in.
You're like the only studio I've ever seen where you
Doors are open.
have an off the freeway sign and then you can just look it up. It's one of the most convenient things, by the way, ever as a guest.
Yeah. I mean, not so convenient for our two producers who are facing us back to the door.
Well, sure, but that way you guys
first.
know.
Yes,
That's not my problem.
sorry.
I mean, you got two human shields to let you know that there's business.
That's what I'm saying, dude.
They get paid handsomely, so they can take the first bullet.
It's called defense in depth. We also pay for their health insurance, so fuck them.
Yeah,
Exactly. So if they live, you're the one paying to get them sewn up.
congratulations. We did that for you.
I think you're gentlemen.
That was our gift to you. You fucks. By the way, best sports photo I've ever taken. College best friend was with Hernandez.
With Hernandez?
Got an Aaron Hernandez pic.
Down at
Looking at the
theaters?
timeline, it was 2 weeks after he murdered those two people.
In Florida.
No, he was up. He was on the road. So he was Patriots. He was on the injury list. And it was like, let's fucking go. And he's like a high-powered doctor. And I just text him that same picture once a year. And I go, never forget. If you get too fucking lippy with me, I'll post this online everywhere.
Yeah.
People forget, though. Aaron
He's smiling with him and
Hernandez,
shit. Like, that's serious.
But when you really think about all he achieved, I mean, for the
It's a short amount of time, too.
in several personalities, he's putting up really like a Tupac amount of success.
Yeah.
Like he was a practicing homosexual. He was in gangs. He made it to the NFL.
Yeah.
He killed people in college. I mean, it's really breathtaking.
He's the Amelia Earhart of murderers and NFL players, you know?
He really is.
A lot of stuff in that short life.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff.
And not too bad on the field.
Not too bad with his own blood in his jail cell. Did you see the fucking paragraph he wrote in his own blood?
Oh, yeah.
Holy shit. It was a whole psalm.
That seems like a lot of work.
I know.
Be honest, man.
I
Just
know.
like use voice notes or something.
Yeah, there's better ways to do it.
I'm not writing.
Because he bashed his head against the wall until he could use his own blood, wasn't it? what he
Correct.
did?
Yeah. Do you have that dedication in your own life?
No. I would just use a gun, but I mean, you don't have that option.
You don't have that option in jail.
But I would, once I hit my head once, I'd probably go, I shouldn't do this.
I don't think you can. Dan, isn't there something where you can't run and knock yourself out? Something stops you inside your mind? As I know, people can't slice their own throats either with a knife.
I don't know if that's true.
Yeah, you can't. There's a mechanism in your brain where it won't let you get all the way through.
Well, you shouldn't do that anyways. And I don't mean you shouldn't kill yourself, although you shouldn't. You should try not to.
It's best.
Trying to cut your throat like in the movies, that's not going to work. What you really want to do is get the tip of the blade behind the esophagus and pop it out. You're going to hear a hiss.
Yes.
And then you know you're good.
And that's for your audience because let's face it, they're probably all on the edge.
Yeah, just wait till you hear the hiss. But don't do that.
I'm trying to look it up right now, but it just keeps giving me the suicide crisis lifeline
that's
number.
Oh boy, is it
Google's
is this
weak.
a series of 8s?
Anytime you look up
988
Google what
suicide.
is the best way to kill yourself or the certain amount of what you're supposed to take, it just gives you phone numbers.
Yeah.
Does it really?
I mean, call and ask them. Call them live on the show. and
Yeah,
ask
call them live on air.
Hey,
and
we're
let's see what they say.
not going to kill ourselves. We're just curious.
Yeah, like-
Tell us.
I'll talk in a black accent so they don't know it's us.
Yeah.
Hi, Googles.
Yeah, they're not
It's
going to
me.
be able to
They'll
never
never
know.
know
some sort
that.
of prank.
Hi, Googles. I think about killing myself. And then we'll see what they say.
They're like, could you
See what they
please
say.
do it?
Yeah, they're going to be like, oh, that honky white producer you have? No, she doesn't sound like she's ready to kill herself.
Yeah.
The black guy does.
Call the suicide hotline and just ask if that's the right way to do it.
Hi, honky. Yeah, I mean, we'll just see what happens.
It would be kind of fun to call the suicide hotline and put them on hold.
Yeah, just go hang on a moment.
Hey, stand by for the president.
Hey, guys, I got to get on top of this chair real quick. Just put you on speaker. And then, whoa, no.
And it just starts playing elevator music. Do-do-do-do-do.
Ba-da-da-da-da-da-da.
We haven't done any of the shit that we're
Or
supposed
just
to
be
do
as
so far.
annoying as possible to the point where you can see if you can really get them to convince you to stop killing yourself.
Yeah.
Like, all right, sir, just you know what? Go with God.
Yeah, and they're like, by the end of it, they're like, I'm not saying you shouldn't,
Yeah.
But
but
I'd like to go into a graphic description for him, too, to really get him into it. And, like, really get them
why
on the
you're
edge,
doing
too.
it.
Oh yeah, like
just
I'm
be
up. I'm up on a stool. I've got a rope around my neck. I greased up the floor just to make sure
poured
I can't.
baby oil
It's baby
everywhere.
oil everywhere, right? And I'm also covered in baby oil. If you want to come over, I'll cover you too.
Yeah.
Right?
I got all of those rubber thumbs from the post office, and they're all on my toes. So I have a grip. I have a grip for a little bit, but if that gets too slick,
Well,
Once I come, I'm fucking dead.
the floors are buttered. So if the police come in, it's just going to be a Three Stooges video. They're going to slide into the chair, and I'm dead anyway.
Wouldn't it be?
So-
Then you have a producer in the corner. He's playing all the onomatopoeia sounds. Whip, whip, whip. Like, what the fuck is going on
So
here?
it's Godspeed to you. But if you can talk me out of this, let's see.
Yeah.
See what you got.
And then you hit the last button. It's Paula Dean saying the N-word. And then the phone goes dead. I just want to leave them with that image. And then boom, it's like, did that guy? Was that the plan?
I think he just wanted us to hear it. How did he have that tape? I don't think it's Paula Dean. I think it's him doing a voice. Just says, this is Paula Dean. It's clearly you.
I like how we have.
No, honey.
I like how we have 10 pages of show notes and we haven't said a goddamn thing on any.
No.
Well, we don't need to. Did you do the show notes for other people? Are they that fucking boring?
No, I wanted to just chat with you, but if we just wanted to talk about it like today, there's a protest going on. I don't know if
Oh, I saw it. It's like a
What?
Pearl Harbor times a million or whatever.
yeah, it's an insurrection.
Oh, shit, another one.
Insurrection because they're white.
Wait, who are these people?
What's the day today? What's today's date?
23rd.
Today is the 23rd.
Okay, so it's J23. God, it doesn't roll off the tongue the way J6 does.
Too many J months too. We're gonna run out.
I
Yeah.
know, man. Fuck.
Let's play the video.
Yeah,
See
play
what's
it.
going on.
Play it. What do we got?
Fight, fight.
What are they protesting?
Oh, it's Gaza.
Yep.
Oh, again? I didn't even know that was still going on.
It's Jews for Palestine.
Yep.
No, actually.
Man.
Is it really?
Kamala for president.
Oh boy. Hey,
We added that part.
well, I like that they at least put Gaza on the sign because Palestine, that's not a place.
That's what I don't think people understand, and then I get called a Zionist.
No, I don't care about Israel either. Just Palestine's not a place. It was the Palestinian mandate for a while.
Yeah,
There's never in the history of the world been a country called Palestine.
right.
I don't even like
That's-
Zion Williams, the basketball player.
No, because you can't stay healthy.
No,
That's the problem.
I'm a
right?
Zionist that way, I guess.
Yeah.
Like, I want him out of
Well,
the league.
anti-Zionist.
Okay, yeah, yeah.
So I guess you should go protest.
So, Dave, we talk about this all the time in Drinking Bros. There is just certain fucking parts of the world where you could just nuke out,
Yeah,
and I'll never care. I like Africa.
you wouldn't notice.
And, well, I don't want to go there, and I don't have a desire. So, like Africa,
Yeah.
gone.
Okay.
Has nothing to do with race. I mean, a little bit, but except for the South part, right? No, but
Sure. The white.
no, but zero desire.
White
It's
colonized.
1,000 degrees.
Not trying to go to like Siberia.
I'm not a big game hunter. Like that
Siberia
doesn't
seems awful.
Siberia, but I'm not a big game hunter because we have friends that have done it, and I'm like, cool, man. You paid $50K to
shoot
just
a lion.
sneak up on a lion and shoot it. Like, boo. Dan's got it correct. Like somebody breaking into your house, that's worth $50,000, and I'm sure you'd pay that tomorrow if you could. Going to fucking Africa, zero desire, and then the rest of it, boo, don't care.
Right.
Australia, same thing. Too hot, too many bugs. Accent isn't sexy enough. I don't give a shit.
Very large spiders.
Yeah.
I don't care for them.
New Zealand seems pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They
maybe
keep doing all the haka
leave that.
dances and stuff. Like, you guys haven't been in a war in 1,000 years. What are you dancing about?
Yeah. I used to love Canada.
Canada used to be dope, but it's fucked up there now.
Yeah, I feel bad. I feel like we should take the kids in the hole out of there and a few other people.
I think we should just
Cool,
annex, we should
Yeah.
annex Canada entirely.
Yeah.
Right?
I would like Cuba. So if we're gonna steal one, give me Cuba.
need
Give me
Cuba.
Mexico.
Cuba should come back.
Cuba should come back. Give me Mexico. Don't care about the Middle East. All of it. Like even
Sinatra
Israel.
didn't run all that gambling money back and forth, so we couldn't have Cuba.
Yeah.
Yeah. But like Middle East gone. Like I don't care. I don't care about Israel. Is that bad? I don't.
Neither does God. Have you seen the Middle East? I mean, there's.
You spend a lot of time.
I don't understand why.
I know you spend a lot. I mean, you of all people.
Yeah, it sucks. It's the whole thing sucks. I don't understand why America takes so much heat for it. England is the one that fucked that up. We had nothing
Middle
to do
East.
with that bullshit. Yeah. We had nothing to do with that. We came in later in the 50s and 60s and fucked up Iran, but technically that's Asia Minor. I think that's not even technically the Middle East. So the Middle East is not our problem.
No. India. Don't give a fuck about India.
No, don't
Get India
care.
out of here, dude.
Don't care about India. Don't care about Ukraine.
No. Get it out of here.
care.
Russia. Does anybody give a shit about Russia?
No.
Me neither. Gone.
No.
Get it out of here. I really care about Italy. God, I know it's going to sound terrible. It's all the white countries. I really do care about Italy. Germany seems fun. in the early 40s.
Yeah, right around 1939. You thought they were really going for it.
Bring back that part.
Yeah, I just like the legalized meth and the hate. Those were the two things.
I don't know.
So
what
good at it.
But the meth, the Germans did invent that.
Oh yeah,
right. I mean, it's like it wasn't all bad, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, I mean, really, the non-prescription drugs you just get over the counter were just breathtaking.
Is this my version of Trump's Charlottesville thing? Like, oh, they're good people on both sides.
Yeah, beautiful people on both sides.
They're just regular Germans that could walk in any store and be like, "I'll have some heroin. I'll do a little bit of," or they called it baby cough syrup.
It was the best, dude. Give me some fucking panty grease.
It was laudanum, right? Just liquid morphine.
Yep.
Yeah. And then even in the U.S., MDMA, ecstasy, was legal until 1988, I think.
So cocaine was legal till the 20s.
Yeah. Well, it was used to treat AIDS patients that were that were actually dying. Like, it was actually to help them ease the burden of the severe depression of it.
Shit.
No shit.
We used MDA for a lot of positive things. We've used a lot of shit for positive things before we end up completely,
Raping dogs.
Yeah. That's exactly what I was. Word for word, man.
I know, weird.
It's weird. You got a connection.
I'd go Italy.
Well,
I want Italy back.
I
leave Italy. Leave Sweden, Norway.
I like Sweden.
Finland's.
Well, Finland's good. Well, and
Rouge.
Dan, I have to ask you, you've taken a ton of acid.
A lot, yeah.
And that's, I guess, when we're talking about, and I've done a ton of acid, and I'm curious, I think you've probably outdone me, and why did you take so much, and when did you start?
I started when I was 11. And the reason that I started is because when I was 10, I read a medical journal from the University of Jerusalem about using LSD to treat autism, right?
Okay, so we're the same reason.
Yeah. And it was like, I was just trying to figure out how to be a normal person, I guess, which that seems extreme now, looking back on it at 11 years old. But I had heard the word acid before.
Yeah.
My brother, I have an older brother. So it's like, I've heard that before. I can probably get that, right? That's something that I can do. So I just did it. And then it was awesome. So I kept doing it.
It's really fun.
Yeah. The only reason I'm not still doing it now in my 40s is because it's just too much effort, right? Like, I need a day off afterwards at this point. I'm old.
Oh, yeah.
So, mushrooms I'll just have to do for now. Yeah.
Even then, though, because it's the same thing with time. If drugs take too much time out of the day, and then you have a recovery process and all that other shit.
Got too much shit to do, yeah.
Too much shit to do. And that's the fucked up thing. I think that's why drugs are a blast when you're young. It's because you have all the time in the world. You got nothing to do. You have no responsibilities. You don't have to wake up for anything. So you can just do drugs. You can do cocaine all night. You can do whatever you want. And then you realize, all right, sweet. Well, that was a day and a half of my time. Right. Now you're looking for the quick hitters, where you're taking edibles or maybe some ecstasy or microdosing shit. I think it's why it's so popular. It's just the time factor.
I mean, yeah.
Especially with the Silicon Valley guys, all of them are microdosing. They're like, oh man, is it crazy? It's like, no, it's just time, because they're fucking busy dudes, but they still want to check out for a little bit and then check back in.
Of course. Well, and when you were doing this, how long did you do it for? I mean, you said obviously a while, to the point where now you're switching to mushrooms.
Yeah, I mean, I did it pretty heavily through my teens until I joined the Army. I think it was 23 when I joined the Army.
Okay, so you're talking about a good,
good decade, yeah.
Good decade.
And then the last year that I was doing it regularly, I did it every day.
Okay.
For a year. Then I joined, I'd already joined the Army, but I did it every day, and then I left to go to boot camp.
Okay.
After.
Is that a
college.
huge switch?
No.
No?
I don't know. I mean, the secret, and you know this probably as somebody that's experienced that yourself, and it's something that I've been able to map onto every other part of my life, which is a really good thing, is that this isn't real and this won't last forever, right?
Oh, of course.
I think it's like this. It's one of the things you get taught in cognitive behavioral therapy, which is none of this is going to last, right? It's never as good or as bad as you think. Just fucking relax.
Right.
You know what I mean? And then you can make good decisions. And that's probably the best thing that came out of it for me, to be honest.
Yeah, there is certainly that level of panic that you have when you take it, or that you can experience, where if you don't learn to calm yourself down or realize what's reality and what's not. Do you do it, or have you done it a lot?
No, a guy like me with high energy like this, It's the opposite where you're like, I'm going to live forever. And then you don't want to stop doing that shit.
Right.
So for me, like doing in the harder drugs and all that other shit, not the best at it. It's the other ones like pills, syrup, shit like that, where it's like just a nice mellow because I'm always so high that it, like in real life, that it brings me down to like a medium. So if I was on a half bottle of syrup right now, you'd never know it in a million years. Where it's probably the same way with you guys on acid, I wouldn't know. One show we were doing, he was smoking DMT live on air and had no idea. I just knew the scent was different. And then I asked him once the show was over, dead serious.
It's impressive.
But I know the scent was different and I'd never been around it and I'd never smelled it before. And I was like, yo, what were you smoking during the show? And he was like, DMT. And I was like, get the fuck out of here. I was like, how are you able to do a show? And I think we were doing news. We didn't even have a guest on.
Sure.
We were just doing, topical shit. And he's able to do it and maintain a normalcy and be a normal person throughout it, where I would say 90% of the people who are doing drugs, it's just, I'm on drugs. Yeah. And you're like, okay, cool, man. I don't want to be around that. And then I realized that I was like that, where I was like, oh, I'm on drugs. And I was like, well, that's not the best version of me. So the pills are, though.
I do it to challenge myself. You know what I mean? Like,
yes, I do. Yeah.
Like for real, how much can I, even when I was in high school, I would take acid, just walk around in the mall and see, like, can I filter out all of this stimulus? Because for somebody that had issues with stimulus and as a child, right, that was something I needed to do. It felt like and maybe I was drawn to it just because that's how nature works, right? Like I'm fucked up and my brain is looking for a solution to it. But yeah, it definitely taught me how to. There's a lot of stuff in the periphery, and sometimes it's right in front of you as well. But you got to like just slide it out of the way a little bit, and you can get all the shit you need to get done. So I don't get. It's hard to distract me.
And well, that's both. I would say that's two ways of anxiety. I mean, you're basically, it's sensory that you're dealing with at a young age.
Sure, yeah.
It's kind of like dealing with constant. That's kind of how I was when I was young.
Yeah. It was sensory with no context, right?
Yes.
Like if I was older and I understood what was happening, then all of the sensory overload stuff, I could contextualize it and deal with it. But as a child, you're just like, what the fuck is going on?
But if you dose yourself, it makes more sense because you're aware that you're in control of it.
Right.
Or at least somewhat in control of it. At least you're
Well,
aware of why it's happening.
I'm completely in control of it now.
Yeah, you're making sense of it at the time.
It has turned me into somebody who, I genuinely don't. It isn't that I don't like people or value their opinion, but I don't give two fucks about anybody's opinion about me. I just do whatever I want to do. You know what I mean?
But that's a freedom most people don't have.
It is, unfortunately. I mean, we would be quite a bit more socially meritocratic if people would behave that way, right? Like you should, like, social pressure plays an important role in society, right?
Absolutely.
Sure. But kowtowing to it is not helpful for anybody.
No.
It's just like you get manufactured results out of that. And then some when
Well, we're seeing the result of it.
Yeah. Well, when the social infrastructure is set up that way that you see manufactured results, some asshole who knows that is going to come try to take advantage of it. You know what I mean? And they're going to start programming people and stuff, and look at all these idiots and all the stupid things they believe now.
Oh, yeah. And just the fact that fame is more precious than anything else now. Because
we are the most technologically advanced we've ever been. We have the most access to information, and not just information, but meta-analysis of that information that we've ever had as a species. And people are easier to trick now than they were in the late 19th century when snake oil salesmen were traveling the country selling them shit.
Of course.
It's like we're living in the dumbest period in human history right now.
That's what's sad, with the most intelligent people who are behind the wheel of a lot of it controlling it.
That's wild.
But I wish it wasn't like that, because I'm a bully and I shove nerds.
Sure.
And that's the only world I want to live in. You know what I'm saying?
I get that.
I wish
That's
I didn't
why I was
know.
friends with you guys in school.
Exactly.
You make them laugh, and then you're like, hey.
Yeah, I'm a bully and I shove nerds. But I wish I didn't know what I knew now, because now I'm questioning everything, where I'm just like, oh, fuck, dude. I just want to go back to where it was simple. Bully, shove nerds, make money, and we're in that versus like if you look at the last
bullies now are
10 days.
Yeah.
But look at the last 10 days, because we've been on every fucking night virtually because something crazy's going on.
Yes.
And our producers are running to the ground and all that other shit because we're questioning whether or not our president's alive. Like,
yeah, no one knows.
But how wild is that? So one got shot. Today, somebody wrote a fucking story on Twitter that one died. That went viral, and every news organization covered it, that Jimmy Carter died. Not true. Yep. And then we're questioning whether the current president is actually alive and whether or not there was a coup to get him out of there from behind the scenes and all that other shit. And we're the ones on acid questioning everything right now. Mm-hmm. And I want to go back to just bully shoving nerds. Like, I don't want to know any of this shit.
Well, and it's also the bullies or anything. There's not really a place for it anymore because now you're actually being successful in your own world, calling out the stuff the nerds that should call out.
Yes.
But now the nerds are on a roof trying to shoot at a president and missing. Like, we're living in a very bizarre time. Like, yeah, there's Elon Musk's, but it's also like, hey, there's more billionaires than ever. And it's like, we're also not worth shit.
No.
Like, the dollar's rapidly declining. Like, there's reasons for that other than, like, we're go-getters. It's this massive separation between the rich, and I don't want to say poor, but I mean, the middle class is being eradicated by these massive monopolies.
And if you look at the stats that came out for Texas the other day, to most people said to live comfortably in the state of Texas, it was $202,000 of annual income for your household.
Yes.
So man and wife, which is mind-altering. If you would have told me as a kid, like, hey, dude, you have to make $200,000 to survive with your family in Texas, I'd have been like, there's no way. There's no fucking way. And then here we are. Like, you feel fucking poor if you're not making over $200K here.
Yes.
It's wild. Nobody can afford a house. Everybody's renting. We rent everything we have. The car leases are jacked up to 84 months now. Like,
oh yeah,
what the? Oh, cool, man. That car you love, you can own it. You won't pay a cent on it in 8 years. Just give me 8 years of your life, and then you can own this Ford Taurus. And you're like, what the fuck?
That's what's crazy is, like, you can buy cars that are like 15 years old and stuff, which I just started doing. Like, I had a guy slam into my Cadillac that I loved and I bought, and it was expensive. And I was like, I'm not buying another brand new car just to have this happen. So I bought a 98 Eldorado. I was like, screw it. I'm not going to keep buying.
What do you keep in the back in the bed of that thing? No, that's an El Camino. Sorry.
Oh no,
what the hell's an Eldorado? What does that look like?
2-door. Paulie Walnuts drove one in the Supreme.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I got a 12-disc changer.
Yeah.
But you know what? I don't have any computer stuff in it, so I love it.
Yeah, that's good. Probably.
But yeah, my ATS I loved, and then before that I had a DeVille. But I'm tired of like going, oh good, and then the second it snows, somebody who's texting just slams into the side of me, and I'm like, I'm glad I worked hard for this.
Yeah.
It feels good to get in an accident every time I get something I like.
And then also in Texas, like, I stopped buying leather seats. So I went to this dealer that Dan and I are buddies with, and I was just like, hey, give me the shittier version of that. I said, what do you mean? He said, I don't have leather seats in it. And I go, yeah, I know. It's burning my kids' legs, and they fucking hate it. They hate getting in Dad's car. So I need cloth seats. I need everything old school where the buttons are easy for them and all this other shit. And it's like, yeah, I'm driving around a car from the 1980s, essentially.
Yeah, because they're like, you don't want this just to be a computer that you like you can't control. It just follows you all right.
Right.
You don't do anything. No, I want to feel like I'm driving a car.
Yeah.
Like, is there any way I can just get a car? I hate it. You know what is comfortable though?
What's that?
Magic sheets.
Oh, Miracle Made sheets.
Yeah, I love
them.
those
Magic.
Things. Yeah, they are.
I just love them.
Yeah.
They are. It is hot outside, like you were saying. It burns your legs.
Wait, for real, Miracle sheets? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, Miracle Made.
I've got a bunch of their towels at my house.
Dude, it comes with 3 free towels if you get our deal.
Get the fuck out of here.
For real.
Tell me about it.
For real, son.
Tell me about it.
If you go to trymiracle.com/normal,
Okay.
you will get not only the sheets, but you will get 3 free towels.
I'll slap my grandmother.
That's right.
They're the softest towels of all time. I'm not even kidding.
way.
And if you've got a woman in your life, the face towels for washing their face with, that'll score you some pretty serious points.
No way.
That's right. And you will get the hand, the face, and the body towel.
Oh, look at those. I'm looking at the monitor right now. Those are beautiful.
They are beautiful.
Yeah.
And that's right. And you will get 40% off if you use promo code NORMAL.
Stop it.
You will. And at checkout, they're going to toss on an extra 20.
I'm about to put the noose around my neck.
Many
Strangle
people
bait.
would. I know, but you're going to need that later for the party. So you have to go to trymiracle.com/normal.
Sure.
And check out these wonderful sheets.
And use the code NORMAL to claim your free 3-piece towel set and save that 40% off. Again, that's trymiracle.com/normal.
Is that picture still up on the screen? What ethnicity is that young lady in there?
Ambiguous. That's a new one.
Does that come with the sheets?
She's a Kamala
not
Harris nationality.
Yeah.
Okay.
Same as The Rock.
Ah,
very whatever.
Speaking of Kamala and The Rock, I guess BLM's turned on Kamala again. Do you remember this from when Biden was inaugurated? I think it was January 21st of 2020. BLM was bitching the whole time. It was like they went like 85 days before he answered their phone call or some shit like that. Yes. This is after he said, "If you don't vote for me, you ain't black," right? So it's starting now already, which is to be honest, I thought all the BLM members were in prison.
Yeah, I thought they were in
real
trouble.
estate fraud and shit.
Yeah, did they buy mansions and like a plane and all this other stuff?
Well, you got to have a plane,
and then they advertise.
You got to have a mansion too.
Yeah.
Well, sure.
Can you really do violence well if you're not in a mansion?
I mean,
I can't sleep.
And this is after
you prove you're doing good without a plane.
This is after Kamala helped promote a bail organization that raised $45 million to bail these violent assholes out of jail. That organization that she donated to live on television, they raised $45 million to bail people out of prison or jail.
Those guys were
like burning down Minneapolis.
Oh, they were fiery, but mostly peaceful.
Yeah. I feel like we're memory holding a lot of stuff about Kamala Harris, like her putting a bunch of dudes in jail, her pretending that Biden was not senile for the last 3.5 years, and the main one, I think, is her raising money for literal domestic terrorists. That seems odd.
Do we have a clip?
Yeah, I'll show you from summer 2020.
Shit! How was that?
Here we go.
Everyone beware, because they're not going to stop. They're not going to stop before Election Day in November, and they're not going to stop after Election Day. And that everyone should take note of that on both levels, that they're not going to let up, and they should not. And we should not.
Yeah, we shouldn't.
She doesn't, to be fair, she has no idea what she's talking about.
No.
So it's hard to it's like a child saying something. You're like, hey, well, listen, Timmy, what you said was wrong. It's like, oh, spiders and... All right, dude, whatever. But you can't say that shit in public.
Yeah, she's also doing the COVID version of late night, which I forgot was a weird thing for a year and a half.
No, well, some people forever.
Yeah, forever.
By the way, you've got producers here, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Can somebody look up the definition of terrorism?
Yes.
Sure.
Just really quickly and read it aloud for everyone.
Is there a phone number for it? I'd love to call.
It's 989, which is
I'm about to discuss terrorism, but I want to know if I have it right.
Yeah.
Do I have terrorism?
I think I've got a
WebMD says terrorism.
The unlawful use of violence and intimidation, especially against civilians in the pursuit of political aims.
So,
wow.
Use of violence against the civilian population for political aims. That sounds a lot like what she just said.
Yeah.
That's exactly what she just said, actually. Well, that's strange.
Fuck.
I wanted her.
Can't stop, won't stop.
That would almost make you a terrorist.
No, yeah. I wanted her, by the way. I wanted this to happen. I'm not kidding.
For her to step in?
Oh, do you hear the leftist Twitterverse right now? They're like, oh, Republicans are in trouble now. Like,
nope. Wait till she gives her first speech. It is fucking over. This was my dream from the get-go. I swear to God, my only hope is that they don't replace her and they really go all in on her, and then she's going to get fucking buried.
This has been my theory the whole time. I think the DNC specifically wanted to get her and Biden out of the way to start fresh in 28.
Yeah.
They get him out of the way with whatever, the 25th or however they have to do it, and then she's next. They're going to put her in an unwinnable election and let her get slaughtered.
Did you see her first day?
Oh, yeah.
Her dancing with the children?
No.
Oh, are you allowed to pull up a clip or?
Yeah, please do.
Her dancing with just type in Kamala dances with children. And this was the first clip from the campaign. And I was like, oh, okay.
Is this a Kevin Costner thing? What's going on?
Yeah. It's her in a, it looks like a, forgive me out there. It appears to be a ghetto. The United States of America, and they're all dancing together.
In America?
I know, strange.
Okay.
I know it's hard to believe, especially in a democratic city, but it happens.
I'm not buying it, but
it happens. So she's dancing with them in the street to the beat, and then does another campaign event that day and is dancing again. And people are starting to ask, like, is that the campaign where you're just going to dance your heart out through the end of it? It's so cringeworthy, and you don't know what the messaging is.
Oh, no, I did
there you go.
This. Okay.
Is this like a TikTok thing, or what is this?
I'm not sure. So she goes, and this was with India, and then she goes and replicates it at a neighborhood on her first day out.
Oh, do we have
in Delaware?
One? Yeah, see if of course it's Delaware. She had to visit someone's grave.
Even this seems racist, where it's like, oh, hey, I'm black and we can dance. And I know that. I already knew that.
What? it's so bizarre because the number of commercials she had already shot in different wardrobe and hair lengths to say vote for me.
There are two things going on because people have been talking about this for the last couple of days. Somebody made the observation that you just did, which is completely an appropriate observation. There's no reason for her to have front-running stuff like that, ads that are already prepared.
So immediate.
Yeah, immediately. Yeah. Now, someone turned around and said, well, J.D. Vance ran anti-Kamala stuff like right after he got nominated. It was like, yeah, because they're going, well, they
She was going to be the VP.
She was going to be the VP. They had that. So he made one about her.
Yep.
She didn't make one about Vance because that wouldn't make any sense. Or it would make sense if she released something that was anti-Vance, right? Yep. Because my guess is just based on having worked on political campaigns before is that Vance was saving that anti-Kamala ad for right after he slaughters her in a fucking debate. Yeah. And they immediately run that and capitalize on the fundraising and all that stuff. For her to have stuff with her as the front runner already preloaded, that's bizarre. I mean, that implies that they knew that this was going to happen. But, you know this, but about a week ago, Kamala tried to use the 25th Amendment to get Joe out of office. Forget about the campaign, right? And the pressure obviously finally got him to drop out of the race, at least. We'll see how it goes from there. But that was on Sunday.
Well, you called it. You called the day he stepped down. Mm-hmm. So what's your honest take of where he's at now? Because the thing that I see is it's basically an attempt to get rid of two presidents, right?
I mean, you mean Trump as well?
Yeah.
Maybe, yeah. Yeah. So anybody that's trying to capitalize on American weakness, it doesn't matter who the candidate is. What matters is chaos. Right. And you can say even Russian information operation, if you think Russia is deeply involved in this. By the way, they can't even win a war against Ukraine, so I'm not sure how much faith I have in their ability to do anything. But
that's true. They're just bombing the hell out of.
Are they? Or are they just sitting there?
No, they've lost the same amount of people as Ukraine, which is like that should be impossible, frankly.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
At any rate, they're incompetent. But at any rate. Maybe, yeah. But anybody that's trying to, like, if the goal is what people say, what people like Alex Jones, for example, say, which is just to have some kind of global regime, the best way to do that is to take the strongest, most resilient country. And we're resilient for a number of reasons. One, because we all have guns. Two, because we got 3,000 miles of ocean on both sides. So all these reasons, right? The same reasons that and our purchasing power as well. All the reasons we became a superpower in the first place. The only way to defeat America is from inside out. Everybody knows that. So how do you do it? You just create chaos. People, here's what doesn't happen. When people don't feel, and
which is a very basic divide and conquer.
It is, yeah. You can read this in Locke. You can read just read First Principles books, and you'll find this. When people don't feel comfortable and safe, when they don't think that their country is going to be around 30 or 50 years from now, they don't get a 30-year mortgage, right? They stop participating in the infrastructure that makes the country great. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So that's the best way to attack it. You don't have to launch bombs at America.
So let's say you have a globalist regime. You could use the banking system to jack up the rates of, say, getting a house.
Yeah.
Use that regime, all of a sudden it's 10%.
And then you crash the world's reserve currency and try to replace it with a central bank digital currency, which is what's happening right now.
Right. When you have a war that goes on as long as Ukraine and Russia, Americans check out of it. They did when he was over there. After
everybody said, America's been at war for 15, 20 years. Like, no, we were at war. You guys were at the shopping mall.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
And that's not an insult. That's just how it is. That's like life has to go on, right?
It is. And so, like, for me, when I hear, like, Ukraine, anytime somebody says Ukraine now, it's like hearing That Ain't Texas by Beyonce on, like, fucking TikTok, where I'm like, nope, I got to shut this off. Like, I don't care.
Right.
I don't care anymore, and I need to move on with something that I actually give a shit about. A 2.5-year war for me in two countries that I've never been to and I have no desire to go to in real life. Like, sorry about it. I just don't care.
Well, why would you? I mean, at this point, I actually care about America and America first, and I think we're losing that completely by trying to constantly take on all these other places, which just seems like such a waste of not only taxpayer money, but money we don't have. I mean, we have invisible money. We take out, $1 trillion extra a month that's non-existent, and then we just send it over by the pallet to other places?
But what they do is all these stories, but all the globalism and everything you guys are talking about, they beat us into the ground with all of this shit. And then you're just like, all right, great. I just want to get my kid to school. I just want to get the next meal. I just want to get the thing or whatever. How much you taxing me? How much you giving me? How much you throwing at me? All right, great. Just get on my face, get on my face, get on my face. And that's what they want.
Right. And it's odd, though, that people don't want, though, just their family values and to figure out, like, this is wrong. Like, this is what's important in my life, this very small thing that should be important in your life. And they don't want that. They want to just jump back to fighting and arguing over stuff that's really an unwinnable thing. I mean, it's like, it goes back to, like, Dale Carnegie. Like, you never win an argument, you know? You kind of just both walk away and somebody has a grudge against you.
Right.
It's all it seems that the politics...
Well, it's a good distraction, right? It's a good
100%.
distraction. It's the Colosseum, it's the Roman Colosseum, and it's probably just to bridge the gap between people realizing they're being fucked and actually doing something about it, right?
Right.
Because the truth is this laissez-faire attitude of live and let live, and we're just like our leaders will take care of it. That shit's over, man, and it is cyclical, as Jefferson predicted. The tree of liberty must be refreshed from time to time with the blood of patriots and tyrants. He didn't mean war constantly. What he meant was that you have a republic if you can keep it, as Franklin said, right? Like it requires constant maintenance to make sure it stays there. And, we're back to, we've circled around back to the point where Adams said once that I must study war and politics so that my sons may have the liberty to study mathematics and philosophy, right? We're back to the war part. And it doesn't mean literal war. It means like we have to fight for the liberty we have, right? Think of it as a game of tug of war. You make some progress, they make some progress, back and forth. This is how government works. It becomes an engine to extract labor and wealth from the population, and you have to constantly fight against that shit. And the less you fight and the longer you go without fighting, the harder you're going to have to fight to get any of that shit back.
So then you have these, I guess I would ask you, like, you have these people around the country who don't actually know, and I mean, I guess myself included, to go into combat, but they're not even interested in looking at our country as anything more than a racist, horrible misstep, misguided. Like, they don't seem to grasp anything about the history of the world or where we're at. Yeah. Like, how do we get past that when you have, I don't know, what, arguably 30% of the country that just wants to leech off the idea that we're a completely worthless, terrible, like, hey, can you have a republic if that exists where there's this
no, they can't exist at the same time.
That's what I mean.
So it matters who our heroes are, right? Our heroes were self-starters, they were warriors, they were people that would put other things before themselves, whether it's their religion or their country or their family or whatever, sometimes a stranger, right? The Good Samaritan. The reason that story is important is that Samaria and Jerusalem, they were enemies, right? It isn't just that some stranger helped a guy. It's that my enemy came and helped me. That's the story of the Good Samaritan in the Bible, right? Now, to the other point, it matters who our heroes are. Athletes, fair enough, right? But who did our athletes used to be? Bob Feller.
O.J. Simpson.
Yeah. Yes. Bob Feller, Ted Williams, Joe DiMaggio, these men left their careers to go fight in World War II. All of them. Right?
Of course.
And those are three.
It was country first every time.
Those are three Hall of Famers. Now our athletes, probably not, right? Pat Tillman is an exception to the rule at this point and not the rule itself.
Oh, even coming out and standing for the Pledge of Allegiance at some points.
In some points, it's been like that, yeah. So it matters who our heroes are. If our heroes are people who put the mission and ethics and morality and such before themselves, then that's what other people will emulate. If our heroes are the Kardashians or people taking selfies and shit in front of people swinging on trees in Japan and shit like that, like has happened before, right? Literally, or people taking selfies at Dachau and Auschwitz, then we would get the result of that, right? That's how it works. So the best way to describe the ethos that is appropriate to make a republic lasting and strong is from G.K. Chesterton. He's an English author, and he said that he said that men didn't love Rome because she was great. Rome was great because the men had loved her. So the 1619 Project bullshit, which is like revisionist nonsense, right? Mm. It is tearing at the soft underbelly of the American Republic. You can't allow for that shit. It's perfectly reasonable to have a conversation about the complicated, like, ethical nature of Thomas Jefferson, who raped slaves, right?
Yeah.
And the fact that he wrote some of the most brilliantly articulated thoughts on liberty ever written. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have to worship the man to realize that what he said was right.
Was it because he was raping? Is that what made him great?
It probably didn't hurt.
Okay.
Well, I mean,
I haven't done it, so like, but I'm trying to be a better person.
We can practice.
Okay.
I have some ski masks and I have a wig.
But it matters. That stuff matters.
It does. Well, and the problem is we can't go back and erase history, but everybody is living in this time where we go, well, what I would have done. Well, no, what you would have done is exactly what they would have done, or you would have been a much weaker person. That's the reality.
Yeah.
We can't go back and pretend that you would have done something different. We've also killed a lot of strong men, and we're living in the bloodline of that now.
Yeah, I mean, that's why Europe's fucked. It's
Yeah.
because of World War I and II happening so quickly back to back like that. All the alpha males in Europe are gone. There are none left.
Yeah, and with this too, like with, you're talking about like the selfies and stuff, do you both think narcissism is something that can actually be contagious? To where, at least in the sense of everybody can emulate it, to where you're so important and grandiose that you do just stop thinking of everyone. Because you start looking on stuff online, everybody's so dead set on how they can fix the world, but then they don't say hi to their neighbor.
Sure, yeah. Yeah, there are tone setters in a culture, right? That's why it matters who our heroes are. Because if you boil it down to the lowest degree, essentially what they're doing is they're setting the currency, the social currency that we are going to trade in, right? That's what they're really doing. Mm-hmm. So if our social currency, when I say social currency, I mean, what do I do in my life to impress other people or to gain their acceptance or get a wife or whatever it is, right? This is social currency. It used to be being a good man. That's the stand, like that before you even have another conversation about anything else, that's the first thing you got to do, right? That's a given. Everybody's got to follow that one. And then like selfless service and, I mean, you could find it in all the philosophies of all the religions, giving to the poor, shit like that. And the general sense is something's bigger than you. Life's not about you, right? Your job as a man is to provide and provide for your family, protect them, and then to whatever.
It's not the 11th commandment of be a doormat.
Yeah. So, and then if you extend that out beyond just your local family, it is to provide and protect for all of your community and then society at large. And if that's the social currency we trade in, like if I decide that I want to be friends with Dave, not because he's got a large social media following, because he's a good man and does the right shit, then society changes pretty rapidly. Then, you know what I mean? Not only between me and you and the people around us, but the people that are going to look up to that guy and emulate him, right? So I think it's really important that strength and masculinity be made cool again, but not just like the stupid shit that you see on the internet. I mean, like being a good dad and a good husband.
Yeah, not being
that shit's
Ferrari isn't a sign of it.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. And for me, married with kids and all that other stuff, there's no thought behind it. First job is being great father.
Yes, me too.
Husband. And then the other stuff we do is rad in the seltzer company and the media company and all that other stuff. But I'm thinking about coaching their games. I'm thinking about the movies I'm going to take them to. I'm thinking about the concerts and things, hanging out with them. Everything else is secondary. And for me personally, it's a fucking trope, but think locally, act globally, like that type of shit.
No, it's true.
I know all my neighbors. If something happens to them, I treat them as if they were my own. It's like, cool. If one of them is in trouble, awesome.
Same here.
And the children that they play with, like, cool, man. If you touch one hair on my friend's kid's head, I'll fucking kill you too. And then you can't protect everybody, but you can protect those around you, those on your block, get to know them, run for a local office, which we've done in the past, things like that. And then the rest of the world is going to unfold how it is. But if it starts in your community and then everybody else is doing it and then it goes further, then you can have an actual movement. If that doesn't happen, then you're fucked overall. Yeah. But nobody had to tell me that either. So it wasn't like my father sat me down back in the day and said, hey, here are your top 3 goals in life. You got to be a good dad, good husband, everything else. You hope you pick up those values from them and you learn from their example. But if you have to tell people on a daily fucking basis over and over again. You got to be a good dad. I mean, that's crazy to me.
It doesn't make sense because the second you have that person, that's everything to you. That should be the thing the person that you admire most, talk to most, train most, teach most. But that's the thing that your dad was doing to you.
Yeah.
So that just should happen. It shouldn't be the
Should
same.
just happen.
96% of communication is nonverbal, right? Which means that most of what you learn is not going to be something that somebody said out loud to you. So this is super important about not just people who have kids, but people who are around them at all. Everything that a young man, a kid learns, a young boy learns about how he's supposed to treat other people, particularly women. He learns from how dad treats mom.
True.
Right. And everything a young woman learns about how she's supposed to be treated by people, treated by men specifically, is how dad treats mom. That is lesson number one. Right. And it's going to be one that they learn over the course of 18 years in most cases. Right. If not longer these days. So, there's no time to waste on this stuff. It is like any other inoculation. It requires some critical mass amount of people. It doesn't even have to be most people in a lot of cases. If just enough people do the right thing, things tend to go the right way, right? Because infrastructure is built around functioning and efficient things. That's how it works, right? Like all of Egyptian culture was built up and down the Nile because that's where the water is. That's where plants grow. Functional people, the nuclear family, for example, is where we should be building all of our infrastructure. Yes. It sucks that single moms exist, but that is a warning, not a fucking a case study, right? Like it's not supposed to be an example of the right thing to do.
It's not a point of pride, and I don't think single moms use it as a point of pride.
No, they don't.
Other people speak for them.
Yeah.
No, and most of them are sad about it, that they're a single mom, and they'll come up and chat with you about it. Say, hey, I left this bad situation, and so-and-so or whatever happened.
It's not an ideal situation.
It's not at all.
It's not. And they don't want to be in it. They didn't set out to be in it whatsoever. And as crazy as this news cycle has been for the last 3 weeks, the story that really affected me in the last 3 weeks, besides the assassination attempt, I mean, obviously that was number one, was the Violet Affleck speech in LA City.
Oh, yeah.
Where
this poor young woman is
18 years old,
afraid to death of her own shadow because fear has been pumped into her.
And she has the richest parents on God's earth. And that's how you turned out.
Yeah.
Where you're masked up and you're afraid and you're living in this crazy fear. And then you look at it in, all like Ben Affleck and Jennifer Garner, I'm sure everybody's looked up to them at some point in their lives or their movies or whatever. And then you look at it and you're like, oh my God, the two heroes that we had growing up, that's who their children are.
This is new in human history, right? Like famous people have made shitty kids before, for sure, right?
Oh yeah.
But two powerful people politically wouldn't have made somebody afraid of their own shadow before. They made somebody who was a lunatic and power hungry, which is not the same thing. Now,
fighting for a mask mandate at the
2024.
Let's say
4 years old. Yeah.
Yes.
And that's the problem is you look at her at the age that she is, why she's like that. She was sent to a school that taught her that. Her parents never gave her the idea that she could have her own thoughts.
Well, that's her social currency. Right. It's
well, that's
sometime in 2020 until late 2020, early 2021. Good, and it's how we define a good person, right? And it's a problem with the American education system as well, because a good student is somebody who's compliant and quiet, right? Which is not what we want in
Absolutely
America.
not.
But what did it mean to be for, let's say, the leftists in 2021 to be a good person? I'm vaxxed, I'm masked, blah blah blah, all that stuff. That has nothing to do with being a good person. Being a good person means literally putting other people first, taking care of people and stuff like that. These things were just, they were lied to about this stuff. So her social currency, people want to be good. I really believe that.
So do I.
Yeah.
When you tell somebody that it means X, Y, and Z to be good, and they will take that with them. That's how they're going to present to the world. This is what I'm doing this because I want people to think I'm good, which is I think that's a very fine reason to do something. You know what I mean? To want other people to think you're doing the right thing. So it's really important what you teach, not just kids, but how media operates, how politicians operate. And instead of trying to, as we've done for the last, let's say 150 years in American politics, just trying to weaponize fear against everybody. Instead of I would love to hear a study on this, but just a random person on the street and you ask them, explain your political positions without mentioning a candidate. Don't say any human being's name. Just tell me what you would like to see happen in America, right? And do it in a way that's positive. I don't want to hear what you don't want to happen. I want to hear what you want to happen.
Yep.
Right? And I feel like people are going to have a hard time answering that question because they've been programmed to filter politics through the lens of, I don't like that person, so I'm going to like this person.
They've been programmed to say a name so the other person listening completely discounts what you have to say.
Right. And I don't have to say a name. I can tell you. It's crime, immigration, inflation. Those are three things that I care about. I don't give a fuck which side does it or fixes it. That's all I give a shit about. The only problem is there is one guy for me that did that, and we got to see it for 4 years. And now, yeah, you're forced to call it by the party or the other name and everything else, where it was like, all right, well, shit, that's what it is. But if I was in a conversation, and shit, we've done this before. We had a guest on our show, Dan Levy, who did these influencer dinners where he invites everybody over, 12 different people. All you have is a name tag with your first name only. Can't say what you do, what your politics are, anything. You cook a meal together. And I got to go to it in LA, and it lasts about 3 hours. And then at the end of the night, you guess what they do, guess what their politics are, and all this other shit. Nobody can ever guess it. Because if it's just people and you're making a meal together in a kitchen and you're talking about your life and things that you care about and everything else without adding a name to it, without adding politics or a label to it, all of it comes down to roughly 2 or 3 issues.
Well, because people basically want the same thing.
Mm-hmm. But it's 2 or 3 issues on one side or the other. So for me, I'm saying this clearly as a Republican, and I've been a lifelong Republican, and I don't really give a shit about saying that. But for me, I don't give a shit about climate change. So like when somebody says climate change, I check out of a conversation. I'm like, I don't really give a fuck about that. When somebody talks about LGBTQ plus whatever, I'm like, I don't really give a shit about that. Like, and not because I hate gay people or anything else. It's become so normalized. It was like, cool, man, weren't we over that? You don't need to throw that in my face every goddamn second, and that it doesn't need to be your identity. It's like, your grandfather doesn't care what gets your dick hard. So cool, man, that's not part of it either. And then, the third thing is usually something in schools or religion, right? And I would say that's probably where Republican side of it has it wrong, where you're trying to jam the 10 Commandments and all that other shit down everybody's throat, where it's just like, hey, dude, I don't want the Muslim shit in my life either. So
yeah,
you can miss me with that bullshit.
If you have a good product, you don't have to force somebody to use it.
Yes.
And that's what ordinary Christians know. They know that for a fact. They proselytize, right? They're evangelical. There's no problem with that. But you can't. You don't need to force somebody to take something that's good. Nobody's ever had to sell drugs ever. Drugs sell themselves.
People come to you.
Yeah.
And you've never had to open a storefront, and you've never had to advertise online. You just have to have the product.
Yeah. And we've all said, don't you know how good this dick would be?
Yeah.
Because that you have to kind of
bring it up.
Yeah, you got to advertise it a little bit where you're like, I don't think you understand. This is the best dick you'll ever have. But everything else, no.
Yeah. And it's, again,
I've robbed women.
If you go through, if you can go through an entire conversation with somebody without mentioning politics or parties or particularly candidates' names, Michael Schellenberger, who is on the Twitter files, I don't know if you know him or not, but he's been on the show before. He likes to say that when I write books, I don't use candidates' names because when you say words like Trump and Biden, smart people get really stupid really fast. I think he's absolutely right about that.
Trigger.
It's because we've internalized it. It's a part of our identity now. I'm a MAGA person. I'm a Republican. I'm a Democrat. It's like, no, you're not. You're a human being. Just fucking relax. You know what I mean?
And when I go out in real life, going back to local communities and stuff, I never have political conversations unless somebody knows what I do for a living. And then they're like, hey, man, I love Trump or I want to talk about it or whatever. I'm like, all right, cool. If they don't, it doesn't really come up. Things that are going on in the neighborhood. Dan, that app you were talking about where, people are stealing cars or whatever the fuck it is, like safety, normal things, school system. Hey, I heard they're building a highway or expanding a road. But it's so rare that you really sit down with somebody and talk about politics unless somebody's so aggressive about it and wants to get in your face and talk about it.
Comedically, there's stuff on both sides, and I know that's such a cliche now, but there really is. That's absolutely. You can't watch Hulk Hogan rip his shirt off and not be like, "Are we serious?"
I mean, even at the RNC, the priest comes up to give the benediction or whatever, and he makes fun of Trump while he's doing it.
Right.
Yeah.
Like,
that is completely appropriate to do that.
Right.
But I can tell you this. At the DNC, should Biden have stayed in, and the guy came up to give the prayer before to start the whole thing, and he made fun of Biden being old, that would have not happened.
Right, never.
That's a complete no-go.
Right.
But it should be on the table. And Saturday Night Live used to be like that. It didn't matter who whatever dumbass was being a dumbass got made fun of. The end.
They made fun of who was in power.
Yeah.
And that was the weird thing about SNL is it became a part of the second that you had Kate McKinnon playing the piano when Hillary didn't get elected.
Oh my God.
I 100% agree.
It was an extra twist of the knife that just became the show stopped being a parody of culture and became a talking point for basically the Democratic.
Yeah, what a disappointment.
And it is because the whole show was based on being a renegade of all of it, on being completely against all of it. Going on TV at 11:30, everybody's on coke, and I'm not saying that's how it should still be, but it worked, and it worked for a long time.
But even take as a Republican, going back to what you said about Hulk Hogan, in the moment, because we were doing a live show on Drinking Bros on YouTube, I laughed my ass off. It was the funniest shit I've ever seen.
Of course,
because I could understand the hilarity of it. Of, oh my God, somebody's running for president and Hulk Hogan's ripping his shirt off like when I was a little kid.
Right.
And I was like, man, this is so funny and so, like, I got wrapped up in it and I laughed my ass off where I don't know if other people can even have a laugh at that, what the reaction is, things like that. But like, you understand the ridiculousness of it. And part of me, that's why I do like Trump is like, I think he's in on the bit too, where
I think he knows it, and that's why I even like put up a clip today because I made a joke about it later that night where I'm like, this is real, because you just feel like you're just it's hard to believe it's real.
Yeah,
because life happens like this, and the separation between me and a child being the same guy rooting for Hulk, and then it just happened like that. So I find it hilarious that we're watching the same dude. Just say your prayers, take your vitamins. So I just related to the fact that this is the same guy 15 years ago that was sitting on the edge of a bed just being like, I can't get it hard, brother. I'm full.
Yeah, fuck a pig.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And then I'm going to drop the N-word 13 times, you know?
Sorry. I didn't mean to buy you beer when you paralyzed that kid, son. So yeah, it's like, it's hilarious to me. And if people can't see that and laugh, we have no hope.
Same. And because we're doing a live show for the DNC as well, whoever the candidate is, assuming it's Kamala, and she's got to give a speech because holy shit, that's going to be the greatest night of our lives.
I can't wait.
So we're going live with that. But let's say they countered and just said, all right, we're going to put Booker T. Washington up here, and he's, Junkyard Dog or somebody like that before it. I think all of us as Americans would get a good laugh out of it and be like, all right, well played. It was an old school SNL one-upsmanship of like, great, we'll get The Rock out there and, smell what The Rock's cooking and the thing. And like, it would be really fucking funny. As Americans, we would all laugh about it. And
if The Rock did that, it would bring the house down.
Sure would.
I don't know if the Democrats would get it, though. But for me, if I was at the DNC, I don't care who the candidate is. If I was there and he just yelled, "Do you smell what The Rock is cooking?" or whatever,
oh my God,
I would lose it. I would lose my mind.
Bring in the Undertaker to drag out Joe.
Could you imagine, dude?
It's like I might vote for your candidate.
Yeah.
When I hear that Undertaker theme song,
it's the best.
Boom! You can hear. I can double tap. My dick double taps my own stomach, where it's just like, it's like a Bin Laden shot. It's just like it's a double tap. I'm like, oh shit, dude.
Well, on that note, we do got to get out of here. Thank you both so much for coming. Where can we find you again? I want everybody to listen to your show. It's one of my favorite shows.
Drinking Bros podcast available on Apple, Spotify, wherever your ear holes get podcasts. Also live on YouTube, Twitter, and then Patreon for the dirty ones.
Ooh.
Yeah.
All right. And then
big Patreon.
And then Hard AF Seltzer?
Hard AF Seltzer's available in 12 states right now. If you're in Texas, every HEB, every single Total Wine. And yeah, man, It's been a fucking blast. Thanks for having us.
Thank you both. I love you guys. I'm glad you came on, and check me out this weekend. I'll be in Tampa at Side Splitters. Appreciate you both very much.
You know who's down in Tampa?
Hulk.
Yeah.
I know.
We went to the bar.
I brought my son to his bar, and
we went.
Boy, it is a disappointment, isn't it?
No, I loved it.
Oh, I
mean, it's.
I guess it was because I brought my son, and I was like,
can't do that.
Tampa.
Do you see why?
Yeah, I can't do that.
Yeah, you don't want to ruin a kid. You break his heart when you're like, I'm sorry. I was hoping he'd at least show up and play guitar.
We party with Nick, we party with Nick Hogan, dude.
Yeah, his son DJs there like every weekend.
Did he get that DUI that night?
No, luckily.
Oh,
luckily it wasn't that, but
he did that one night.
We had a good time there though.
Round 2. Not that I'm one to judge.
Hogan's Hangout.
Yep.
I'll give that a plug, dude.
I'm gonna go by Hogan's Hangout.
Go get a tea, rip it open, dude.
I'll go back without my son, who seemed crushed. Anyway, have a good night, everybody. See you tomorrow.